10 moments that prove Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan are soulmates. Some stories don't need official confirmations. They're written in smiles, in stolen glances, in the way two people move in sync without trying. For Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan, their love story has always been more than words. It's been moments. From the very first laugh on the Untamed set to the quiet gestures fans almost missed, every detail whispers the same truth. They were meant to find each other. Here are 10 unforgettable moments that prove Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan aren't just co-stars or friends, they're soulmates. 1. The first smile on set. It all began with a blooper. Xiao Zhan stumbled over his line, turning a solemn vow into a silly rhyme. The crew laughed, but it was Wang Yibo's reaction that stole the show. For someone known as the Cold Prince, Yibo's laughter was like watching winter thaw into spring. He covered his face, his shoulders shaking, but it was too late. Xiao Zhan had unlocked the smile that fans would later call the beginning of everything. It wasn't just laughter. It was recognition. Like his soul had found someone it already knew. 2. The whisper at the fan meeting. There's a clip fans still analyze frame by frame. Yibo sat stiff, the camera's heavy, his mask firmly in place. Then Xiao Zhan leaned close, whispering something only he could hear. Instantly, Yibo cracked. His lips curved, his eyes softened, and he broke into radiant laughter, completely unguarded. No one ever discovered what Xiao Zhan said. But fans didn't need the words. The smile said it all. It was a private universe only they could enter. 3. The sword fight that turned into laughter. During a rehearsal for the Untamed, Xiao Zhan had to push Yibo to the ground. Instead of helping him up, he pulled his hand away at the last second, grinning mischievously. Yibo pretended to pout, sitting cross-legged like a sulking child. But the pout didn't last long. Within seconds, he broke into one of those rare, breathtaking smiles that seemed to light up the entire set. Fans replayed the moment endlessly, declaring, "That's not acting. That's love." 4. The eyes that gave it away. Chemistry can be faked, but eyes never lie. At award shows and interviews, Yibo often sat stone-faced, his gaze sharp and distant. But whenever Xiao Zhan spoke, something changed. His eyes softened, his expression melted, and suddenly, the boy who rarely smiled looked like he was bathed in sunlight. Clips flooded the internet with captions like, "Look at the way he looks at him." And truly, it was the gaze of a soulmate. 5. The storm and the anchor. When fame brought storms of criticism and pressure, both men faced it head-on. But Yibo, younger and less practiced at handling the spotlight, withdrew even further into silence. Except when Xiao Zhan was near. One unforgettable moment happened at a tense public event. Yibo sat rigid, lips pressed into a thin line, the weight of scrutiny heavy on his shoulders. Then Xiao Zhan cracked a soft joke, leaning just close enough for Yibo to hear. And there it was, the smile. A laugh bubbling out like sunlight breaking through clouds. Fans later called Xiao Zhan the anchor in Yibo's storm. 6. The concert glance. During a live stage performance, Xiao Zhan stood on one end of the platform, Yibo on the other. Thousands of fans screamed, lights flashed, music roared. Yet somehow, in the chaos, their eyes found each other. It lasted only a second, a look across the distance, a silent acknowledgement. But in that second, the world seemed to fall away. Just two souls, recognizing home in each other's gaze. Fans slowed down the footage, zoomed in, replayed it endlessly. Because soulmates don't need words, a glance is enough. 7. The jealous glare. Even soulmates have their playful shadows. At one fan event, Xiao Zhan greeted another actor warmly. Cameras caught Yibo in the background, his expression suddenly sharp, his lips pressed into a pout that fans instantly dubbed Jealous Yibo. Seconds later, Xiao Zhan leaned toward him, whispering something that made Yibo's pout dissolve into a reluctant smile. Fans joked about it, but deep down they knew it was the kind of reaction you only have when someone means everything to you. 8. The silent comfort. Not every soulmate moment is loud. Some are quiet, almost invisible, but just as powerful. Once, during a long press interview, Xiao Zhan faltered slightly while answering a tough question. His usual confidence wavered, and for a brief second, his smile dimmed. Yibo, who rarely showed emotion in public, reached out subtly, his hand brushing against Xiao Zhan's under the table. It was so quick that most people missed it, but fans didn't. That single gesture, unnoticed by the world, was worth 1,000 words. I'm here. You're not alone. 9. The balcony sunset. Of course, no list of soulmate moments can skip the balcony sunset. When the world was caught off guard by the picture of the two standing together, bathed in golden light, it wasn't just a photo. It was history. Xiao Zhan's head tilted toward Yibo, Yibo's body angled protectively toward him. Every detail screamed intimacy. Fans didn't need captions, didn't need explanations. The image itself was a love letter written in sunlight. A soulmate confession without words. 10. The midnight smile. The greatest soulmate moments aren't always the ones we see. After the balcony photo went viral, rumors swirled, and paparazzi crowded their world. But behind closed doors, away from the chaos, their truest moment unfolded. Sitting on the floor with takeout noodles, phones buzzing with endless notifications, Xiao Zhan teased. So much for being the cold, serious one. And Yibo laughed. Not the polite chuckle for fans, not the small grin for cameras, but the unrestrained, glowing smile of a man utterly at home. That was the real proof. Not the balcony, not the whispers, not even the smiles caught on camera. But the unseen smile, the one reserved only for Xiao Zhan, was the clearest evidence of all. Why these moments prove they're soulmates. Soulmates aren't about grand speeches or dramatic fireworks. They're about the little things. The way someone can pull laughter out of you when no one else can. The way their presence turns storms into calm. The way your eyes find them even in a crowd. For Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan, those 10 moments are more than coincidences. They're puzzle pieces of a love story that's been unfolding quietly, but undeniably. Each smile, each glance, each whisper has been proof of something fans have long believed. These two were destined. Not just co-stars, not just friends, but soulmates, walking through life side by side. Conclusion: forever written in moments. Love doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it laughs in the middle of a serious scene, or hides in a secret glance across a crowded stage. Sometimes it's just two boys sharing noodles, smiling at nothing and everything. For Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan, their love story has never needed confirmation. It's written in their smiles, carved into their glances, etched in every quiet gesture. And these 10 moments, they're more than memories. They're proof. Proof that some souls aren't just destined to meet, they're destined to stay. Because at the end of the day, when the cameras fade and the world goes quiet, Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan are still looking at each other, still smiling, still walking forward together. The first smile on set, a deeper look. Every great love story begins with a spark. For Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan, that spark wasn't grand or rehearsed. It wasn't even scripted. It was simple. A blooper. A laugh. A smile that slipped past carefully built walls. That first smile on set of The Untamed wasn't just an accident. It was the universe planting its first clue, a sign that something extraordinary was about to unfold. A cold prince meets the warm sun. Wang Yibo was already known for his cool, detached aura. Fans adored his precision, his discipline, his almost untouchable presence. He was the boy whose emotions were tucked safely behind an impenetrable wall. Xiao Zhan was his opposite. Warm, open, radiant. His laughter was loud, his smile contagious, his energy like sunlight in human form. He had the kind of personality that could turn silence into melody. So when they stepped onto the same set, it felt like winter and spring colliding. Nobody expected what came next. The blooper heard around the world. It happened during a scene charged with intensity. Xiao Zhan, in full costume as Wei Wuxian, was meant to deliver a vow dripping with destiny. But instead, his tongue twisted the words into an awkward rhyme that sounded more like a nursery song. For a heartbeat, Silence. The crew held their breath. The director frowned, waiting for a reset. Xiao Zhan laughed at himself, embarrassed but amused. And then the miracle. Wang Yibo, who never broke character, who prided himself on restraint, couldn't hold it in. The corners of his lips twitched, then lifted. His eyes softened. His body shook with laughter so real, so free, that he had to hide behind his sleeve. The set erupted. But more than the crew's laughter, it was Yibo's rare joy that left everyone stunned. The whisper after the cut. Fans later saw the leaked clip, replaying it endlessly. But what they didn't see was the quiet moment after the director called cut. Yibo leaned closer, his voice low but playful. "You can't do that when I'm trying to be serious." Xiao Zhan grinned, mischief in his eyes, and replied, "Then stop being so serious." It was nothing on the surface, just banter. But beneath the teasing was the first thread of a bond neither of them expected. Xiao Zhan wasn't intimidated by Yibo's walls. He walked right through them. The smile that became a pattern. After that day, the pattern began. During breaks, Yibo still sat quietly, phone in hand, headphones on. But as soon as Xiao Zhan wandered over, everything shifted. The headphones came off. The phone was forgotten. Conversations bloomed, jokes filled the air, and the cold prince became a boy with dimples, laughing like he'd forgotten how to stop. Crew members whispered about it. Some smiled knowingly. One later said, "Yibo's laughter was rare." But Xiao Zhan made it normal. It was like watching someone remember how to breathe. Fans catch on. When behind-the-scenes clips were finally released, fans noticed too. Xiao Zhan's humor was charming, yes, but it was Yibo's reaction that stole the spotlight. Zoomed-in edits appeared online. Yibo's lips twitching, his eyes betraying him, his stoic mask crumbling whenever Xiao Zhan was near. Comments flooded in. "That's not acting anymore. Look at how his whole face changes for him. This is what love looks like in its first breath." What fans didn't realize then was that they were witnessing history, the birth of a smile that would one day shake the world. The smile in secret corners. There were moments the cameras missed, too. One afternoon, exhausted after hours of shooting, Xiao Zhan sat sprawled on the floor, humming a silly tune. Yibo walked by, trying to hide a grin tugging at his lips. He paused, leaned against the wall, and watched quietly for a moment too long. Xiao Zhan noticed, looked up, and sang louder, deliberately out of tune. Yibo broke again, laughter spilling out like sunlight cracking through clouds. A crew assistant who saw it later whispered, "It wasn't about the joke. It was about who told it." Why that smile mattered. For someone like Yibo, smiles weren't just rare. They were sacred. He didn't hand them out carelessly. Every grin meant something. And that first unguarded laugh at Xiao Zhan's blooper wasn't just humor. It was recognition. Like his soul had stumbled upon something familiar. Like Xiao Zhan wasn't a stranger at all, but someone he'd been waiting for. That smile was more than joy. It was surrender. The crew's secret bet. Rumor has it, after a few weeks of filming, some crew members started a playful bet. How long will it take for Xiao Zhan to make Yibo smile today? Sometimes it was within minutes. Sometimes Xiao Zhan dragged it out, deliberately teasing until Yibo caved. But it always happened. Every day. Without fail. The cold prince had found his son. The spark that never died. Looking back now, that first smile wasn't just a funny memory. It was a prophecy. Every major moment that followed, the whispers at fan meetings, the jealous glares, the balcony sunset, all of it can be traced back to that one blooper, that one laugh, that one smile. Because in that instant, something irreversible happened. Yibo's walls cracked. Xiao Zhan stepped in, and neither of them ever stepped back out. Conclusion: the smile that started forever. It's easy to underestimate a smile. It's just a curve of lips, a flash of teeth, a fleeting expression. But sometimes a smile isn't just a smile. Sometimes it's destiny taking its first breath. Sometimes it's the beginning of forever. For Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan, that first smile on set was exactly that. A tiny, unguarded moment that carried the weight of fate. Fans didn't know it then. Maybe even they didn't know it then. But looking back now, it's clear that smile wasn't just laughter. It was love.